Hello and welcome back. If you've been following along with this build, you may remember part of this summer I had a period of time where I didn't put out a video. I had this big stump that needed to be removed. And I was trying to be budget conscious, but I was also being somewhat stubborn and trying to take this out by myself. Just with hand tools. And I spent way too long, wasted a lot of time on this, trying to take that out, held up, moving forward with other parts of the project. When I realized that time was just kind of getting away from me and I really had to make some moves in order to hit my deadline of trying to get this structure up before winter, I knew that I had to get some outside help to get rid of this stump. So part of the delay in this process was trying to figure out how to get rid of this stump. It had been pretty old and rotting for a while, and it was right on the corner of where the original shop was. Us tackling this stump here actually happened immediately after we tore the building down. We had some time in the day, so we started trying to remove it. At this point, I was set on trying to remove it myself because I'm trying to keep the budget low on this build, and I didn't really want to have to try to pay for like an excavator. So we were just trying to approach it with these pry bars to see what we could take out. This piece that my brother is attacking at the moment, we later hooked a chain around it with my dad's truck and the neighbor's tractor, and it still wouldn't budge, even that little piece. So this was just the very start of breaking ground there, trying to dig out all the big rocks and roots. I would later go on to dig a massive hole around the whole root system and attack it with pry bars and hand axes and stuff, just trying to chop out as much as I possibly could. It was a pretty old tree, and the root system got to be pretty massive, and they were all the roots were intertwined and grown into each other in just a really big knot. And I would later find out further down in the ground that they were all wrapped around these big massive rocks. Eventually, we all decided that we weren't going to be able to go much further, and we gave up, and we ended up digging up a bunch more rocks from under the shop, off camera, and in a different location of the building.
This one's not too good. It's pretty soft.
This was just the very beginning of me tearing out tons and tons of roots by hand, and just trying to get after this thing. Lots of rocks too. I've ended up with a big pile of rocks, which you'll see later in the video. Some of the rocks I've gotten out. I've been doing a lot of work off camera. I got this tree and this big rock in the way, and I need to remove it. And the reason why is because one of the tubes of cement I'm pouring to support my shop needs to basically go right where this rock is. And this is going to be really close to the building, and it's already got ants in it, and I don't want that colony of ants to be too close to my building. I was trying to tackle taking this out by myself with hand tools because I can't afford an excavator. I spent many hours out here digging this big pit that I've got and hacking off as much as gone here. I just realized that I'm not going to get this thing out anytime soon on my own, and I have to get the cement poured. I'm trying to get the structure up before winter. So what I'm going to end up doing is there's going to be some guys coming to do some wood chipping, and they're going to chip up this stump. They're going to get it as close as they can to all these rocks. I'm really hoping that once they chip that stuff out, I'll be able to get these rocks out of the way, or once the main stump's kind of ground, whatever roots are kind of still there that might be in my way, I can take them out and get as many out as I can. If some of them are underground away from the structure, I'm not too worried about it. It's just I want the stuff that's going to be kind of under the building and interfering with where my footing needs to go to be gone. I did a lot of this work off camera, and the reason for that is because I did this over multiple days, multiple times coming out here, kind of sporadic, maybe for an hour at a time, an hour or two. And I know that, yes, that's enough time to set up the camera to film. But part of the nature of me still trying to figure out how to work and shoot is really using that time to stop what I'm doing, set up the camera, move it where I need, make sure it's all set up and going, make sure the battery hasn't died, all that kind of stuff. And as tiring as this work was, and really just trying to get it done, I didn't want to have the interference of needing to deal with the camera. I'm kind of at a time crunch to get this done, so unfortunately I didn't film this part, but I am trying to show you kind of where I got it before it gets chipped up, and then maybe after that I'll show some of the rest. And of course, to make matters worse with this tree, I don't know if you can see this on screen, but there's a couple pieces of wire growing through this. There's a whole wire fence that grew through this tree, which is why we didn't cut this big stump down ourselves with the chainsaw. So my father used his chainsaw to cut alongside the wire to try to minimize the amount of stump the stump grinders would have to get through before they got there. But ultimately his chainsaw just really wasn't big enough and couldn't handle that tree. So here you can see where I was able to get by myself with some help with my dad. Just shovels, pry bars, axes, and pulling with his truck. So here comes the stump grinder. This thing was absolutely massive, and it was a pretty nasty machine. It's got these huge teeth that just shred into the tree. They were there for, I think, close to 3 hours, just grinding up this tree, and he eventually helped me to pry out that rock because he knew my goal was to remove that rock to be able to get the footing in. They ended up making a massive amount of wood chips. I shoveled them all out because I didn't want that organic matter under the shop as much as I could help it. I have a little trailer for my tractor, and it ended up taking about 4 or 5 loads of filling that trailer completely with the wood chips and driving them out back.
Success!
A and B stump grinders were a huge help with this project. I don't think I would have been able to do it without them. They came in, they gave me a fair quote, they worked super hard. Highly recommend them. They were super helpful. So if you find yourself in need of a stump grinder and you are in the Northwood, New Hampshire area, I would definitely check them out. So here you can see what it looked like after the removal of the stump, and that rock was kind of pried out some. Thanks again for watching. You may have noticed I'm putting out videos a little bit faster on this build, and that's because now that I have this obstacle out of the way, it's really allowing me to move forward with other parts of the shop. So please hit that subscribe button, make sure to follow along and stay up to date. I've got some more stuff in the works that I'm going to start editing soon and keep getting more videos going as I move forward. Thanks.